So we on public. So you guys be ready to share this on your page. And it's 7:01. So if y'all ready, I'm ready. Hold on, let me cue my music up.
I'm gonna log in on Facebook and try to share it myself.
So what I do is you can share it. Or I was gonna tag you either one.
Oh, that's fine. Go ahead if you did it already.
No, I haven't did it yet.
Child.
All right, folks, get it out the way because we finna go live.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm with y'all.
Man, I hate I couldn't get on the other one.
In 5, 4, 3, 2.
AM 990.
Yeah, blow the whistle.
These boys. What's the deal? We keep it real. We unleash, y'all know what it is. We unleash, you gonna get all the biz. We unleash, we gonna show off our skills for real. So tune in for advice and news every Saturday night if you like the truth. We stand up for your rights and rules. Saturdays at 5, we'll fight for you. Skitty and GQ for LGBTQ. We keep it simple, but keep it equal. Skitty and GQ for LGBTQ. We keep it simple, but keep it equal. Blood the whistle, blood the whistle. Blood the whistle, 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 blood the whistle.
I would like to welcome you to the Unleash Thursdays broadcasting live from Memphis, Tennessee. Yours truly, David Clemens and Gwen Clemens are in the house today, and we have our Memphis native, Devante Hill, in the house. But before we start this show, we got to talk about our dumbest president in the United States history. He made Juneteenth a national holiday, and he made everyone aware of Juneteenth.
Well. Okay, let's just kind of expound on it just a little bit. What's up, Facebook, social media land, everybody that's tuned in with us, and you know what, it's Thursday, and you know what time it is. Donald JD, whatever his middle name, Trump. I think that he exposed or made a lot of people, white people, look to see what Juneteenth was. So it could have some credibility, but because I don't like him, I won't give him no credit. But I think he kind of elevated the awareness because in our own community, a lot of people really didn't know what Juneteenth was. Come on now. I think we celebrate 4th of July more and harder than we celebrate Juneteenth. So maybe after 2020, we won't celebrate 4th of July no more. Because what the hell we celebrating the 4th of July for?
Talk, mama. Talk.
So now we got our own holiday.
Talk, Miss Gwen.
What? Man, 4th of July to commercialize everything. We have a red, white, and blue, firecrackers, everything for the 4th of July. Now we're going to get some drums. Now we're going to do Juneteenth now.
Well, you have a point there because I don't even think we weren't free on 4th of July, the original day of 4th of July.
No, that was what, 1773? United States got their freedom from England. That's what they celebrating 4th of July for.
The folks who had us locked up are basically, we celebrating the people who got us locked up basically on the 4th.
Right.
Oh gosh. Oh my goodness.
But guess what? We waking up now.
I truly believe, no, seriously, I believe though, family. I believe that I believe Donald Trump, I definitely am not a Donald Trump fan, but I feel like I realized what he was trying to say, but the fact that he glows in it and the fact that he celebrates himself, I can't get with it, dog. I can't get with it. He probably did have a lot of white people to go and look up, what is Juneteenth and why did he cancel the rally because of Juneteenth? I was ready to go to this rally and he canceled it for Juneteenth. What is Juneteenth?
And why you black people mad?
And why are black people mad again? And ain't nobody on the TV getting killed. So maybe his base. He probably did make you popular among his base.
So do me a little favor, because we want to make sure that we hear you. Can you turn your volume up a little bit or get a little closer to your microphone?
So you guys can't. I'm on my pods. I can't believe y'all can't hear me.
Turn your pods up. Yeah.
Let me just cut. Oh, you can wait. So am I not being heard?
It was kind of fading in and out a little bit, maybe because you was moving. But
Maybe.
So for people that don't know the importance of Juneteenth, would either one of you like to do the honors?
I start off. You can fill in, Devante. It was this major. His name was Major Gordon. I forgot his last name, and he went down to Texas. I think it was Texas, to tell the slaves and the slave owners that they were free. And it was like 2 years after they were free. And so when he went down there, he was letting the slave owners know, hey, these people are free. And he was letting the people know, you guys are free. And let's go. Come on out of captivity. And the rest is history. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people died when he did that. Yeah. And I don't know if he died or not when he did that, but it's a shame that it shows you how it takes my granddad to talk about this evil, white supremacist, racist, devil, white man. That white man is something serious. And he's very smart. And it shows you how the trauma our people have been through, how we've been bamboozled, hoodwinked, led astray, run amok. It just shows you what their intentions are and what they are willing to do and just how to keep us down. They kept us down for 2 years after we were freed, after the president signed the papers. They kept us down. But it's just a shame that we have to go through things like that. But fill in where I left off there.
So you got to remember, right back then, Black people were forbidden from reading, writing.
Oh, yeah.
So they didn't have access to information. They lived on the slave plantation. And the South, were the biggest perpetrators and benefited from slavery. Then that's why they fought so hard to not overturn slavery, because they benefited off our labor. So
here's what's problematic for me, Mama Gwen. It's kind of like I think what we saw, in this instance of what we call Juneteenth, is purely an expression of the beginning stages of systemic racism. It's kind of like, the country at that point had already said the slave was free, but down in Galveston, Texas, you had a group of slaves still living, under the auspice of slavery. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like you free, but you ain't free until we say you're free. It's almost as if us passing federal regulations, but we still live in states that have laws that are depressing and oppressive for people of color. So this was, for me, the early signs of systemic racism. And so I think it is worthy enough to be celebrated. But I think the real pullback got to come when we stop celebrating Independence Day.
I agree.
I think that it also show the ability to, the way they've waged psychological warfare on African-American people.
Yeah.
So when we start thinking about systemic racism, right? And people always think that it's obvious. It's not obvious. It's very subtle. And people don't really understand the damage that has been done to our psyche psychologically for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And then for us to dismantle this and to rewire our brain so that we can understand collectively our power and how we can have equality without asking them for it. Because we've been sitting there saying, hey, y'all, let us in, knock, knock, knock. We want to sit at the table. But at the same time, collectively, we have the ability and the power to have exactly what they have. If we could, like, for instance, I give you an example. The last two killings, right? I think it was before George Floyd, and the community has come together and raised a couple of $1 million for his family.
Yeah.
And it was somebody, not Breonna. They was trying to get Breonna donations up, but it was before George. It was somebody else. I I think they got a couple of million just from sheer people donate $5, $10, $20. Imagine what we could do and what we could have if we form together and put our money together.
You know, here is where we also see, because we've got to dissect this thing called Juneteenth, and we've got to dig into the mind of Black folks in that time, and catapult ourselves to change as a culture among Black people. We've got to catapult ourselves to not have the same mind that they had then, so that we can rise from oppression today. You know, I think the fact of the matter is, slavery was abolished, if you will, across the country at that time. But in Texas, especially Galveston, Texas, the people still were slaves. What we saw there also was the beginning phase of why we don't vote today. We don't show up to vote because we feel like, oh, voting for the president doesn't really matter. You know what I'm saying? And so what we saw then is we felt as if there was a representation of us, but not on a federal level. And I think that moment right there spited our culture from feeling as if our voice can be heard if we make sure that we vote.
But Devante, if you go back into around 1800, there were a lot of African Americans in elected positions, judges, senators, congressmen. We were very represented in the United States. And before the 1900s, everything just changed when Jim Crow came in. And they kind of saw the progress of African Americans, and they didn't want that. They do not want us to be their equal.
Well, Carter G. Woodson said it best: when you control a man thinking, you don't have to worry about his actions. The white man, that white supremacist, racist white man, has controlled the mind of Black folk since the beginning of inception. Since we got on that boat until 2020, that white racist, so white supremacists have controlled the mind of the Black man and the Black people, period.
I see the tide turning. I see the tide turning. And what I mean by that, I see people beginning to understand how they've been able to capitalize off of us unknowing. Like the crime here, right? For anybody that call themselves a person of color is not willing to educate yourself and to still live under, I'm gonna use your word, the auspice of I didn't know. Because there's no excuse for the ignorance of what's going on to understand what social construction is. You got to understand what social construct means. You got to understand what systemic racism means. You got to understand what social constraints mean. This can't be a conversation where activists only know this language. This got to be funneled down so that people will understand. When you walk out the door and you see all these check cashing places in your neighborhood, that's a social problem to keep you in poverty.
Come on.
Right? Am I on it or what?
Hey, mama, you got it. That's it. That's it. We're here. Let me make sure that it's well known that her and I have not had a conversation at all. So I'm only geeked and excited because you get it. You know what I'm saying? Here's the reality. I'm going to give y'all the exclusive. All right? Because y'all my family. Y'all have watched me since children. You guys have known me since I was 18, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Y'all have watched me kind of grow up, 10 years at least. Here's what's problematic for me. We cannot say Black Lives Matter and participate in tearing down Black lives. And when I say that, I mean, the momentum of this moment has got to be strategically navigated in order for results to manifest. Am I breaking the script of the show or not?
No, come on.
No, you good. Look,
you're bowling down my lane, brother.
I'm calling it all out right now. I'm talking about what's happening in Memphis, what our current issue, our current problems are. Because y'all, I love y'all. Y'all my family. I love y'all. And I know y'all gonna spit it to me straight, unbiasedly, right? Our biggest issue is that, since 68, 69, Memphis has suffered from the pornography of killing its leaders. And it started at the Lorraine Hotel. We kill our leaders. We do a good job at participating in the tearing down of those who have just the ability, regardless of whether they have the credibility, whether we like them or not, just the ability to reshape tomorrow. We tear those people down. And I think social construct also includes your mental telepathy, what you decide to mentally play a part in, and what you decide, I'm not going to play a part into that type of mentality. My mind's going to be here. Mm-hmm. And what we can all agree on is that what we saw for Black people, what we saw on our TV screens when George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery, what we saw on our TV screens was terrible. Mm-hmm. It was terrible, but it was not the first time.
Right.
We've seen it before, mm-hmm. over and over again. In fact, some of us are just kind of like in the mentality, just another one.
Right.
Just another one.
After a while, we would normalize the killing of Black men,
And here's why today is so important. Today is so important, Mama, because we got white folks, white evangelicals that are saying what I saw was wrong. And if this is happening, I ain't trying to gloat in white people. I am not trying to make it seem like I'm not going to be HUD director. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to, because Ben Carson had gifted hands until he got in the White House.
I burnt that book up. But this the other thing right here. I did burn it up. I'm gonna burn anything he produces and anything Clarence Thomas produces.
Why
I don't know nothing from the Uncle Tom Negroes.
Where did that come from?
I don't want none of them.
Cover, not Ancient Mammy, but Ancient Daddy.
Right. But this is the thing right here. This is the thing also. Until we change our mindset, our people, we're gonna continue to do a 360, not a 180, but a 360, come right back there. And we have a lot of work to do. And matter of fact, about those good white people, we have good white people out here. Mm-hmm. The good white people help close down flight.
Hello.
Help get that contract from the city of Memphis. Even though we had city council members pushing it, those good white people out there protesting at flight. Once you get the good white people on your team, my granddad always said, just sit back and watch. He said, you don't have to say nothing. Let them fight. You get out the way.
Bro,
you get out the way and let them fight.
Easy. It gets
but
easy.
I mean, you need everybody,
Yes.
Even though we are a majority city like of African American, you still need your allies.
Yes.
That's why they call it allies. The United States got allies, right? They can't go to war without having allies. Hell, they hook up with South Korea to fight North Korea. Come on now. So allies. You need your allies. Anytime you're getting ready to go to war, you got to have allies because all of us bring in some specialty to the battle.
Yes.
Guess what? This system was created by them.
Right.
They created it. So if I have any desire as a Black man to change it, I probably have got to include some people who are part of its creation.
Absolutely.
Hello.
Absolutely.
Hello.
We were talking to talk about when you said earlier, and we talked about you can't say all Black lives matter and that you're not inclusive. You're not for equality, and people have to know what that means because we are creatures and they operate in familiarity.
Yeah.
And because something doesn't affect you and you don't like it, it still doesn't mean that you have to oppress me from gaining equality because you don't like it, right?
Yeah.
I'm going somewhere. So
I'm here.
When we see individuals that's out there in all over the United States are marching and they don't exercise the word, what it say, that's why we threw all Black lives out in front of it. No, because y'all would not hijack this movement, because you have a group of individuals that are out here fighting and marching to be heard and be seen, and not to be oppressed by my own people. Oof. Right? So this not one of those, we're not gonna frame this like it's supposed to have been framed, that if we fight and you win, you get to enslave me. No. This is like, we're all fighting. So don't say all Black lives matter and then you send me to hell on Sunday. So that's what I'm talking about. That's like my problem that I see. And then we got to address this. We got to pull this elephant out the room and talk about it, because it's a big ass elephant in the room. Big, real big. Like, what's that damn cereal we used to eat? The Snuffleupagus come through for Sesame Street. Mr. Snuffleupagus in the room. We got to deal with it. I have no idea
what that is.
The elephant on Sesame Street.
Oh, that was a white cartoon.
Snuffleupagus.
I watched Fat Albert. I didn't watch the white cartoon.
Well, hey, it's an elephant in the room.
But this is also the thing right here. All the minorities communities, they have to get out and make their voice heard. You cannot. If you're afraid, or if you're afraid of speaking up or getting out, keep your scary tail at home. You cannot be afraid in this movement if you're a minority. Black, trans, Hispanic, Indians, whatever you want to do, whoever you are, you have to speak about the injustices of your people and get out front, because we're preaching equality for all people. Point blank.
But guess what? Here is either I'm gonna talk to y'all or I'm not. You know.
Well, our show called the Unleashed Voice now. So
okay.
If you hold it back, it's because you're not unleashing your voice.
I'm just gonna tell you what's going on and what it is. I'm having an issue. I'm having an issue right now, and that issue, and I'm gonna deal with it. I gotta deal with it in a way that's professional. But I'm having issues right now with the Black church trying to establish its presence in the Black Lives Matter movement. Nope. There's a difference between the civil rights movement and this moment right here. Right. And that difference between the two is that there is not a presence in the Black church. The Black church doesn't have a presence in this movement, and the time has called for the Black church to say something. It's like you can't not say anything when 95% of your congregation is probably frustrated about the thing that's happening on the outside of the doors of the church. So for you to not be able to say anything about it is for you to lose your relevancy. The problem that the Black church is having between now and then, the civil rights era and the Black Lives Matter era, is because the Black Lives Matter era includes the injustices against those who are part of the LGBTQIA+ community. And the reality, just keeping it real and keeping it 100, there are a lot of Black pastors who need to seek the Lord, the same God that they said his love is forever forgiving and his love is forever evolving, and that he is God who created everything and everyone. Those same pastors, whether they choose to be a part of that community or not, they have got to find it in their hearts to realize that there are Black people who identify as trans that are being murdered by the same police officers that killed George Floyd. There are Black young men who are being forced to participate in sexual acts against police officers before they are brutally abused and unjustly thrown to the wayside of the prison system. There are Black people, regardless of how they identify. There are Black people who are suffering, and Black church members are having a hard time defending Black lives that are not, I'll say it this way, Black lives that are easily to be aborted in the Christian church.
Well, I have I try to avoid certain arguments on social media because it takes up too much of my energy. But I got into an argument about this on social media the other day. My good friend, Pastor Courtney Franklin, put a post up about how you cannot have a movement with Black lives and not include all Black lives. And so you had this, I'm going to say his name, you had this ignorant ass bishop. I think it's Adrian Rogers, whatever his damn name is. He got his ass on Facebook and said, I hate that the LGBT people are trying to take the movement. What the hell are you talking about? You ignorant Black ass pastor. What are you talking about? You're a fool. And you are the reason, people like you.
Oh, God.
Bishop Rogers, people like you are the reason that Black folk in your church and around this city who believe and follow you are suffering. And you have drank the white man Kool-Aid to walk around here and preach this, I feel like cussing, preach this bullcrap gospel after King James Bible. In the words of my mama, if the King James Bible is your only resource, you ain't enlightened, you lazy.
Well, here's
and that's what they are, all them Black ignorant lazy ass preachers. Go ahead.
Here's the deal. Here's the reality, bro. The reality is if you are professing to be a believer, a Christian, you know, and you don't see the need to fight for all Black lives, stay the hell out of this movement. Be quiet. Just don't say nothing. Don't show up. You know, just if you got to pick and choose which lives actually matter, you're no different from those who scream and shout all lives matter.
Hello.
You're no different. You can't pick and choose who it is that you want to defend when you're saying you are standing against evil and upholding what's right. Because a Black life is a Black life. Doesn't matter how they identify, as a straight man, as a gay man, as a bisexual man, as a gay woman, a lesbian woman, a transgender male, doesn't really matter. You cannot possibly scream Black Lives Matter. You can't. You just can't, because right now injustices are happening against people who have Black skin complexion. Doesn't matter how they identify, but people who have Black skin complexion. But I had Pastor Rogers blocked myself for other reasons, and I can see him saying a statement like that.
Oh, he said it.
Not only can I see him saying a statement like that, I can see that probably a lot of pastors who loved it and liked it.
Absolutely.
And I believe when COVID-19, here's the deal. I pray that COVID-19 dry up the well that you fat, bald-headed, just toxic preachers have been sipping from for a long time. I pray that your church dries up if you don't really accept that revival is about to happen. And it doesn't matter how the person identifies, as long as they can identify as a portion of God's creation.
And the crazy thing about it is that I just even really cut it real short. They may not like it, but their congregation is full of LGBTQ members and they profit off of us. But I bet you one thing, they sure won't turn that tide down. I bet if you write on my envelope and send them a couple of $1,000s that I'm LGBTQ, they ain't gonna send it back. They gonna take it.
I'm gonna give Bishop a pass. I'm gonna give Bishop a pass. And here's why I'm gonna give Bishop a pass.
I'm not. You can't. I'm not.
I'm gonna tell you why.
If I ever see him on spot, I owe him one. I'm like a machine gun. I'm gonna cuss his ass out.
I respect him a lot. I think he's a successful businessman, and I respect his ability to lead those that he is leading, because it's undeniable. Can't take that away. And what I give him a pass for though is COVID-19 has caused people to just say things that are just. It's like COVID-19 is taking a toll on people mentally. I believe the mental capacity of a lot of people has been immediately affected because of COVID-19 more than the virus itself. So I'm just gonna say that Bishop is probably just frustrated, overwhelmed, mad, and said something that he really shouldn't have said, because churches are really taking a hard hit right now because of COVID-19. I'll counter that, and I'll also say that probably the reason why churches are taking a hard hit because of COVID-19 is the Lord is coming out of nowhere and saying that I am in control of this church. I'm in control of faith. I'm in control of who comes in and who goes out. And it's only your obligation to speak to those that I've called you to speak to, but not to speak against those that I've also created and loved. It's a moment of inflection and reflection for each and every one of us. And if you miss that moment, you're going to lose.
Agree. Well, we'll jump to the portion of the show that we want to talk about the Memphis protests and the Memphis movement. But I agree. But the time has come for people who have been marginalized, people who have suffered bad theology preaching for many years, people who have suffered under the leadership of these, I'm gonna call them false prophets. It's time for those people to speak up, because people have been silent for too long. In the words of, I love Malcolm X. In the words of great Malcolm X, y'all been singing "We Shall Overcome" too long. Stop that singing and start swinging. It's time for us to stop it. And it's time for the people to speak up. And I am not going to take it anymore under my tenure. And people may say whatever they want to say, but I would not. And I'm going to engage in any of this foolish argument they do. I'm going to engage in all of it, because we have a lot of people who can't defend themselves with the scripture and all those things. But I refuse to take any more abuse by you bully preachers who go around and put that stuff on social media and so on and abuse people, period. I believe God loves everybody. I have not seen the hand of God. I don't know what heaven or hell looks like. And so neither do you, and you don't have a right to send nobody there based off a book that is not 100% completed anyway.
Well, you know, for somebody that's been subjected to and infected and affected by racism and homophobia, you know, so you get a double whammy, you know, when you're dealing with it. And when you start thinking about the Black LGBTQ community, the Black church has been one of the biggest persecutors, just like we are calling out the white supremacy. So we got to dismantle that while we're dismantling things that's going on in our community, that's permeate our community and what we exist in, and how we, the social constructs of homophobia in the Black church.
I'll say quickly for you guys, you know, revolution can't begin in our communities until revival starts in our churches. I'll say it one more time. Revolution.
Your energy and you people out there to do what you're doing. And for everybody that have had their turn, it's okay. It's called succession planning. Move out the way and let these young folks do their thing. Because I'm telling you, my knees ain't set up to Mars. But I tell you what, I sure can run this business over here and then use my contribution in other ways to help get the word out. You know, to help get the word out, to spread the movement and to support you. Black Lives Matter. I ain't gonna support too many people, but to get my support out there behind them, because I'm skeptical of who I'll attach myself to. I want to make sure that these people are authentic in the work that they're doing, because I know that I am. And see, I be like David out there ready to swing. So we support you. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Don't worry about the naysayers. Don't worry about the opposition. You're gonna always have it, you know, and you just keep going forward. Don't turn around and go back now. You just keep walking, keep going, and then you're gonna get to where you're trying to go.
Let me say this. I also, you have to remember, and not you, but the people, the trolls who are watching, the Israelites and the Black Lives Matter movement and the other people. Listen, y'all. If we're gonna ever be successful and impactful, we're gonna have to work together. The white supremacist, racist people, they work together. I don't care if they from Timbuktu or they sitting in the White House, they work together. So just imagine how powerful we could be if we put down our indifferences, if we can work together, y'all. It ain't gonna work. We're gonna be back in the
Yeah.
same predicament, y'all, if we continue
Yeah.
to sabotage each other and fight. So we have to work.
Gotta work together.
Devante, thank you for coming on the show. Have a good night. I'm coming to pick my
Thank
shirt
y'all
up
for
in a minute.
having me.
I want my
Love
shirt.
y'all.
I
I'm going to
love
Reflection
nothing. I
Park.
want my shirt. I want my shirt.
Come get your shirt. Go get your
I'm
shirt.
on my way. I'm on my way.
All right,
I'll be
dog.
there in 5
All right,
minutes.
dog.
Take care.
All right. Hey, Reflection Park, I'm going to be doing an interview. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Appreciate you. So I don't know. We getting 1,000 emails and